All right, let's do this for the second time with the mic turned on. It has been a lazy few weeks on the car, but a lot of little things that are adding up to feel like something. uh, can't lie, I've been lazy on it a bit and busy. Family life, man. The kid doesn't like working on the car all the time. Can only handle so much. So you do what you can do. What have we done? How about the hood ornament? That's something. She's attached for the second time. The first time I tried soldering. Me and soldering aren't the best of friends, but sometimes I figure it out. Roughed it up and tried to melt solder to where the little hook ring was and then shape it and drill a hole. And yeah, it lasted about frickin' a week. This time I made a little pocket out of masking tape and dropped some, JB Weld in there, and then just shaped it after with a grinder and a file and drilled a hole through it, and it actually came out pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's doing the trick, and it even still has some spring in it. Like I can lift up. I don't know if it would fully bend over without breaking, just with the amount of room that the epoxy took up. But yeah, it's on there. So hopefully the little fella doesn't just rip her off of there, and we'll be good. Also repaired with JB Weld the little issue we had with the rotten aluminum, right where the hood latch pin sort of is. I mean, it had just disintegrated, so I globbed a bunch on the back, roughed it up first and everything, and then globbed it all in there. I'd really like to give this some black paint. This overspray really takes away from this nice clean edge. Like, it'd be nice to just blue, nice clean blue to black, and it's just sort of sloppy looking. Catches the eye. So one of these days, if I feel like doing an extreme amount of masking and covering, I may give that little spray. Next on the accomplishment list is my makeshift dash pad. I hummed and hawed about what I was going to do with this dash, and honestly, I just came down to just making a vinyl dash pad. I am now a member of Fabricland, and I now know how to set up the wife's sewing machine. Can't say I'm the best at it, but you know, from 75 feet, it ain't bad. The color match is good. Had to buy like 2 meters of this stuff and like $75 or something, but I would have spent that on Bondo filler and all the SEM paints to match this, only for this to just stand out like a sore thumb in the sunlight, right? Like, this is horrible stuff, horrible damage. So I opted to just make a pad and make it look like I was just protecting my nice mint condition dash underneath, you know, like an old guy. Not bad though. Speaker holes lined up nice in the defrost. I used some pretty fancy stitch in there. The corners, yeah, I didn't do too well in the corners, but for the purpose that it needs to serve, it's going to be just fine, I think. You know, just a little bit of heat. This might come down. I might put some Velcro on the back. I sewed this kind of, I don't know, padding in with it. But yeah, a little bit of Velcro so it doesn't blow around in the wind and moves and sits and maybe suck down around this big crack that made its way to the front. I did shave down the big mountains on this because it had just kind of swelled up, just so it doesn't stand through on the cover. And then I also repaired the speaker grills while they were out because the mounts were busted off them, and again, the plastic welder, and sand them, file them down to the right shape after, and we're good to go. So the dash, I think, can go in. That was what I was kind of planning on doing tonight. Did a shop cleanup and kind of not feeling it anymore, but that's good. What else we got? Was playing with some wheel ideas on this. I put these Z28s on with no rubber and the car not sitting under its own weight. It's hard to see it if it's good or not. They look really small. I put the IROCs on, or the IROC on, I should say. I only put one wheel on just for a look, but again, no rubber, hard to picture it, but it does catch the eye a little bit better. It's just a bit bigger, right? But I think these with these big meats on them, they're 275s. Ooh, scratching up my Buicks. Yeah, 275s on real skinny Buicks. So they don't quite have the fatty look, but those tires on these 7-inch wide, 7 or 7.5, I'm not sure, I'd have to measure, but they're definitely wider than the Buicks. They will look a lot better, and it might have the right look, especially with the gold and the blue. I don't know, there's something tells me that'll be a good look. And even if not, then they'll look good on my Regal if I wanted, or any of my other G-Body things. What else do we got going on? Hard to remember how to write stuff down. We did play with the stereo a little bit. Got the deck all wired back up and working, and tried all 4 speaker channels, made sure everything was working good. And then actually tried the old amplifier with just some random sub I had just to see if it worked. Yeah, she's gonna thump. Next is to try the big 15s, bring them down and actually pound pound some bass. So we'll do that eventually. And with the stereo deck, that one that's in there now that I've redone all the wiring, which I shouldn't have, isn't quite staying on all the time. You put pressure on the harness and it shuts off. So I may use this one. This one actually is newer anyways. It's a 2012. The other one's a 2005. So it's quite a bit older deck or head unit or compact display or whatever you want to call it. This again is Alpine. I do like the look of the other one better, but it's got the auxiliary input and USB for a data stick. So you get more options for music. You can go right from your phone to this, which is nice. But yeah, so we'll probably end up putting that Alpine deck in. I'll have to rewire that deck. Something we did back here that I'm happy about. Trunk restoration. Gotta like it. Same treatment as the rad support up front. Just wire wheel, sand it, clean it up, degrease it good, and give her some rock guard. Looked really good. There was a few spots where there was like hair from the old black carpet that would have been glued in here, just like a perimeter. And I chiseled all that stuff off because it would look like crap with rock guard over it. But I did make sure to leave evidence of the bad day the seam sealer guy was having with his gun. It's like, come on, baby, give me some freaking juice. Finally splooged out. So yeah, I thought that was funny. Didn't want to. In a perfect world, I would probably clean this all just nice and smooth and good, but I mean, that's the way it came. Screw it. I'm not trying to hide anything here or make a show car, so just cleaning it up. I had one little boo-boo here. The freaking trunk mechanism that holds and opens the trunk are little shock absorbers in this car. They're not the springs that go across like some of the G-bodies and whatnot, but that one is leaking whatever juices it has in it down and kind of messed up. I didn't notice it because I had the GM floor mat in here for a bit, so I didn't get it cleaned up in time. So yeah, a little trunk restoration. Can't be too sad about that. It looks good. And then when I put the GM mat in here, cleans it right up. I clean up all the wiring on that side, tucked it in looms and everything. And then all the speaker wires that were back there was just tons of excess speaker wire hanging down. So I just gave that a little haircut and cleaned it right up. I was thinking spare tire, and then I forgot the boom boom's got to go in here, so probably get no spare tire. Man, I gotta clean this car. She's due for another cleaning. Getting a little dusty. Last, but definitely not least, a step that I feel was a big one knocked off the list is this vinyl trim all installed. All the way down, both sides. That was a bear. Multiple step process just to get everything where I wanted to get it, or at least as close to where I wanted to get it. Step one, went behind the bottom of the pad where it was all swollen up, the vinyl padding or whatever, and just trimmed out the rotten, kind of dirty, soaked, whatever fabric's on the back of the vinyl, and just took that right out. Just kind of took it out. It was all wadded up and had old glue in it and everything. You know, I wanted to get this vinyl as tight to the car as I possibly could, so I cut that out, cleaned it all up. Definitely make sure you mask the car, put paper and stuff like I did on the second one, because when you drop epoxy or whatever glue you're using on the side of the car, while it's starting to set up, it's panic mode. You got to clean that off and keep gluing and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, first step, cleaned it all up. Test fit it, made this piece of wood so that it would just put pressure on where I wanted it to put pressure on, and you know, built this contraption in my head. And you know, is it a dumb idea if it works and doesn't fall and smash your car? It is. And it worked. So yeah, set it up, did this for both sides too, like, you know, and all separate, so each single one was a multiple step process. But yeah, once that glued, the vinyl top was right tight to the edge of the car, so that was nice. That allowed me to fit the trim on nice and tight to the car as well, because nothing looks worse than the trim just bulging out from the vinyl top. You know, I'm not a big fan of vinyl tops, but when they look good, they look pretty good. But just, I'd way rather have hard top any day. So yeah, once that was glued on and tight, I fit the trim on, the actual vinyl rubbery trim itself on, and then test fitted it, kind of taped it where I thought was nice and straight, and then I put masking tape lines so that when I glued it, I just lined it up with the tape, made it easier. And again, used my wood presser tire weight compressor just to keep it held where I wanted it to be held, so that the glue could dry just like that. And it worked pretty good. I used this 5-minute epoxy stuff, and worked pretty good. Sometimes you got to get in there before it really sets up and pull the masking tape off and pick out, because sometimes it hooks onto the masking tape a bit, like I did here, and then I just picked it out. And while it's semi-soft, it's easier and just whatever. So yeah, once that trim was on both sides, it was time to do the back. I didn't have enough clips because these ones broke when they came off, so I robbed some off the Buick, and the Buicks was still good, so whatever. Took a little heat gun to the vinyl where they click on, and so that it was just easier to push them onto their little I don't know, clips, pins that stick out of the metal. Put all those on, and the trim just clicks onto them. They're a little bit worn out, so I actually had to take some channel locks where the clips are and just squeeze this trim a little bit so that it bit on the clips harder, and that worked really good. And then gluing this back piece down was a whole nother step. So another sketchy setup on both sides just to keep the weight on it. And this side here on the drivers isn't quite perfect. I could probably heat that up and glue it down some more, but I'm pretty happy with that. It's kind of working against the other side, and I don't want to put too much pressure on it. So whatever. It's not a perfect vinyl top anyways, but I definitely want the trim nice and tight and looking pretty good, I'd say. This side has shrunk quite a bit, so I mean, there's nothing you can really do there, right? Like, that's where the trim goes, so You can just see how much it's shrunk up, pulled up. Could maybe seal that, paint it white or something. Even these, they're not white plastic or rubber from factory. They're like a dark gray, and the more you move them, the paint's coming off. Whatever. Turned out pretty tight. I would have worked at getting the overspray off the bottom of them a little more, but man, the more I mess with them, the more the white paint came off, and I didn't want to mess with it anymore. It is what it is. Really happy with that though. Just ties the back end back together. Yeah, that's that. I don't know if I'll be getting the dash in tonight. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of lazy again. There's some shop cleanup. Gotta like it. Progress is progress. I'll probably redo my list. Got some lines crossed off of that, so redo the list. Clean her up. I did today bring the headliner to a upholstery guy. It looked like he did everything, bodywork, upholstery, and headliners, all of it. So I took that into him today. I was going to repair the cracked part all myself and then bring it to him, but some guys, they want to do it their way themselves because they do it the way they like it. And it makes sense because maybe I might not do it his way, and then it just means more work for him and more money for me. But I think that's going to be $400 to $500 for a redo, which, I mean, trying not to spend money on this car, but I'm doing pretty good. What do we got? $200 in lifters and then miscellaneous paints and all that stuff too, whatever. But not a lot of money. So the $500 for the headliner. Wow. What do you do? It's not something I do, and I've tried many a times. Yeah, I think that's about it for what we've got done in the last few weeks. Pretty minimal, but it's something. I think what I'm going to go on to next, besides getting that dash, I can start putting the dash and everything back in with that dash pad, is the other thing I'm going to go on to is fixing those rust holes in the floor, or the rust hole in the floor. And I think there's a couple small ones. So I'll cut that out and fit in some sheet metal. And then actually Trevor, the old owner of this, had suggested he might come over and weld it for me. He's a pretty good welder, I think. So either that or I bust out the old TIG, play with that. I have a TIG welder. I need to get on using that thing. But yeah, like to get that floor patched up, and then I can give it the same treatment as the trunk. I'll clean it, wire brush, sand it, clean it up a bit, and just seal it up. Get a nice layer of rock art on there. Maybe I'll prime it first. I don't know. See what it looks like. And then I can put the carpet back in. Oh man, that'd be nice. I'd really like to have the interior back in this and make it feel like a car again. Slowly but surely. Getting her done. Okay, so I ended up going total different route than I planned on tonight. I rewrote my list over there and then decided, hey, let's have a look at the heater box seal and see if it leaks. And what did I find? As suspected, shitty sealant. See that? The bolts are loose, and I've kind of put screwdrivers in there to clean it out, but that was basically showing through all this old, I don't know, dum-dum they used from the factory, or sealant, whatever it is. So cleaned her all up, and we will probably silicone that. and then let the silicone dry, and then use a bunch of Dum Dum again. I know it sounds funny, Dum Dum, but it's some sort of sealant that's never dries. But yeah, if you look down there, see if we can get an angle. There's a seam where another portion of the heater box connects onto the portion that is connected to the firewall, and it also has like a Dum Dum sealant. And if you look close enough, you can almost see right through that one like pipe connection there. And some of the other stuff is gone or thin. So I'll probably try and silicone that as well. What should probably be done is it taken off and re-sealed, but I don't want to go that route. I'd rather just seal it from here if I can. Not going to be pretty, but it doesn't have to be. Same with this, just get a little bit. I even pried this out a little bit with the screwdriver here. So I'll open it up a bit and get some of that silicone in it. Just enough to seal it up. And then I'll use a bunch of the regular factory style sealant for putting this guy back on, because it had sealant on. There's a big chunk of foam there, but it had the sealant all the way along there. That was all the stuff that was rotten in there, basically crystallized to rock hardness. And this is just another little debris screen on there. And also way down in the box where we're looking at, where the seam joins the second piece up, that's where that little water drain is down there. So you clean all that out too. It wasn't bad on this one. So I think the problem with this, how a lot of the water was getting in the interior, is right here. I think that's probably common on most of these cars. So if I can seal this up, that should help save the interior from getting more water. Also, he told me there was a windshield leak, so I've been prodding around in here looking, but I need to get the pressure washer or a hose and spray in that when the time comes and find out where that's leaking and try and seal that up good too. I don't know where else it would come in on the driver's side, unless the booster wasn't sealed to the firewall, which I believe it is. That side's all metal. But yeah, a little bit down in there will have to be sealed up too. That's right where it comes around. It's right over there and down. And then the water will shed down there, as well as over there in that corner. There's kind of a little trough for it there, if you will, right here. Comes down, goes down this way, or it can go down in the air box or whatever. I'll try and seal it so that it goes this way, but I think it's inevitable that water's going to get down in there. That's why those drains are there. So yeah, I'm thinking that's where the water was getting in the cab from, and with all this work we're doing that was caused by water in the cab, it would not be right to stop the water from getting in the cab. Although if I have this car, it will probably be covered. But I mean, I wouldn't be scared to take it in the rain, and we don't want the floor getting all soggy. All right, so back on this cowling seal up here. Like I was saying before, down there, I got that all sealed up. I just did the best I could to make it look okay and squeezed some RTV all the way along the seam and smeared it with the finger. It looked okay to me, so should hold up. And then up here, I got Dum Dum strip caulk all the way across. Did a big gob of it and pushed it down, kind of sealed it to the metal the best I could, and then just put one more single strand on the top, and it should squish down pretty good. Yeah, I cut a new little foamy for right there for when This guy goes back on here, which I'm pretty much ready to do now. I'll put that on. This little foam fits under this unit here, and I'll glue it down and call it a day. So yeah, that's where we're going with that, and that should hold the water out of it. We will, when the weather's getting pretty nice actually recently, so maybe we'll take the car out, pressure wash the windshield, and see if we can find a leak on that too. Get that sealed up. Putting the stainless back on there is just going to make it look much better. But yeah, that's what we're up to tonight, and should wrap this up pretty quick. I'm gonna have to fix that too. There's always more. Alrighty. Another day, another week, another night in the shop. What are we doing tonight? Going to address the rust hole in the floor. Buddy of mine might come this weekend. Actually, the previous owner of this car, he's a ticketed welder. He might come down here and weld this patch in for me. So I'm just going to work on cutting it out to clean metal, and yeah, get a piece of sheet metal cut out and ready, and I just want to be ready. There's also a couple other holes I found. One right there, small one right there, and then one over here as well, right there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to get to work on possibly drilling out some spot welds and just cutting a nice little hole in there, and maybe getting the other piece cut and fit into place so it's kind of ready. So let's go. All right, don't start a fire. Okay, I'll go cut this out on the scrap piece of metal I got. Alrighty. I don't know, half hour, 45 later, there you have it. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I just so happened to have some scrap metal that was already primered or whatever. But yeah, not a perfect contour fit on the back. It's a little bit thin metal on the back too, so hopefully it welds okay. But yeah, that's what we got there. I think that's pretty good. I think I will drill one, maybe two holes on that side, and we will sort of match the spot welds, and possibly spot weld on this on camera. Possibly spot weld over here as well. There and there. Drill a little hole there and do that. Just because there's a little lip underneath, why not? But, yeah. Looks like I actually have pretty close to the same thickness of metal. No, I got a little bit thicker of a patch, but that doesn't matter to me. We got the little holes ground up as well. I don't know what we'll do there. If we'll cut it bigger and cut and weld in little squares, or if we can just fill that with weld probably. Those are pinholes, but they're probably thin and we'll probably just blow away when we rest or when we weld it. But whatever. But for tonight's progress, not bad. I just want to be ready so that if he does come to weld this for me, it's ready. I think I'll just hang out in the shop for half hour, 20 minutes, make sure the car doesn't light on fire because it was grinding in here, and any of my shelving in shop because I was cutting the metal over there, and everything's made out of wood in here. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Yeah. All right, we got Trevor, the OG owner, welding a patch in the floor. Sure looks good, like that looks money.
Yeah, that's the one I just did.
Yeah, there's water in a scoop here if something happens. Getting somewhere.
Somewhere.
They're mouthy dogs. They might go not bite you, but
Welder up, Leo.
they're gonna get your welder going.
Got some doggies.
There's some dogs in here.
Puppy, eh? Yeah, goofball. The aftermath of Trevor coming by and welding up the floor patch for me. That's about everything we asked for right there. I'll grind it down a little bit smoother and then I can get to work on this thing. He patched up those little holes for me as well. Found another one up there. So yeah, all this sort of stuff I'm really going to try and rough up good and clean up. And I don't know if I'm going to get like a rust inhibitor or whatever those kill rust things are, and spray it on here and then rock guard the whole thing with spray rock guard like in a can or something. But this kind of rough stuff here should really be cleaned up. Pretty rough surfaces with surface rust and whatnot. And then a lot of the seam sealer came out when I was cleaning this car out. It's just, I don't know, it's old or the water that soaked in it made it shitty, but you can see there it's cracked up. So I may get a tube of that and redo some of the seam sealer as well. Might be a good idea to just tighten it back up, because like I was saying, all that was seam sealed before and there's nothing on it anymore. There's still some over on that side, but yeah, at least now the floor is welded up and I can move forward with getting this interior brought back the way I wanted to bring it back. So I got a lot of crappy wire wheeling and sanding and degreasing, and then I don't know, primer it or find. Oh, there's a couple holes here too. What the heck? Wonder what those were for. I don't know if they were for the interior or not, but yeah, look at that seam sealer. It's just chipping off of there. I'll probably pop that off with ease. So yeah, lots of work ahead to get this done, but once this is all done and cleaned up and sealed up, then we can move forward with interior work. See how much of that I remember, if my bags are labeled properly and whatnot. But we'll get it. First, I really want to get that dent fixed in the hood though, or in the roof, sorry. And then I can get the headliner and carry on. All right, some progress in a different direction tonight. Decided I would check out this windshield seal in here with just air and see if it was leaking, which it was. Way more than I expected. Because when you look around, it's nice and sealed, but what I didn't think about is it's sealed to the windshield, but it's not sealed to the body. That's where the air was leaking through. I just had a little piece of plastic, really thin, and then blue from the inside. It was leaking from about here over and down in various spots, lots on the corner, on both sides, basically the same. That whole middle there, that's pretty sealed up still. But I still did remove a bit of product out of there. Get us some light. Okay, never mind, it's not plugged in. But yeah, removed a bunch of product out of there. Silicone, basically cut a fresh slice off the bulging silicone that was in there. It's not butyl in this one because this obviously had been replaced, but yeah, it's too bad they didn't pull all these clips and prep this a little better on the paint job, because that really didn't take me that long to pull all these clips and clean it up and whatnot. But you can definitely tell the paint, because of it, isn't really sticking. You can almost peel that paint back with too much pressure. So I was trying to be careful with the air, and pressure washer would probably do the same thing. But yeah, that's where I'm at tonight. Just kind of cleaned it up with water a bit for now. And the next step will be to maybe use a Scotch-Brite or something and some wax and grease remover. Just try and really give, I'm going to try and seal it from this side. So I really want to try and give the silicone that I'm going to use the best chance to adhere to the body and to the bare face of the old silicone, which is still rubbery, but just the fresh cut face that's on it. Really leaking up here. You can tell why, obviously. It's a little bit rusted under there, so that's a little bit too bad. I'm going to have to put in maybe a little extra work there to try and get it not so rusty before I seal it up. But yeah, about here, over, leaks, and the rest good. So yeah, that's kind of on the list, so decided I would go after it tonight and everything. Yeah, it's kind of weird they painted the car with these in there. They're really easy to get off too. Oh, that just broke. Anyways, bit by bit, we're doing things. Just piles and piles and piles of shit work. And it's the shit work that never gets any glory on bringing back an old car like this. because who wants to see and watch and do shit work? But it's part of it. All the little tidbitty crap. But it's coming. It's coming together. Alrighty. After a lot of cleanup, we are done. Sorta. Not completely sealed, but all cleaned up. I guess it's hard to see with that reflection. Yeah, wire brush, if I could fit it in there. There was a little bit of rusty, crusty right about up in there. It's looking pretty good now. The top wasn't all that bad, just not sealed good. You can kind of push that out. I don't know if you can see it. The other side's a lot worse. Bent my little skinny wire brush for a hole or something. This one would have been nice, but it just wore right out and wouldn't fit in there. Would have been nice, but no. This guy worked a little bit. Wax and grease remover, scrub the shit out of it, blow it out, scrub it again, blow it out, that kind of stuff. Real fun. If you look close, you can actually see factory brassing in there where they join the panels up here. I guess they went away from lead for a good reason. Yeah, pretty rusty, crusty right down in here. Grabbed some, 40 or 80 grit, whatever it was, and just sanded it the best I could and pried at it with a screwdriver to chunk out anything I could. Try and get down to some decent metal, a decent surface for the two surfaces to adhere to. Hopefully this tape comes off. Wax and grease remover is pretty harsh on masking tape, and it can be a bitch to get off after, but it is what it is. Yeah, check this out. Let's see if you can see this. See how much that moves? That's me just pushing on it. And it sort of stops right about here. But this whole side down here is all moving when I push it. Yeah, so hopefully this stuff I got is gonna work. It says it's for windshields, and it leaches under to kind of get under there a bit and seal it up. So we'll see if it is what it says it is on this old girl. Anyways, yeah. Next step, seal her up. So I'm going to put some tunes back on and get back at her. All right, so another one of my, is it a dumb idea if? But hey, when you want to keep pressure on something that's drying, you do what you can do. You do what you can do. You do what you got to do. That's what it is. Yeah, what I did was use that silicone all the way around and laid a bead on the top, and then I did it in a couple sections, but basically lay a bead, and then I blew air pressure lightly like pushed up on the windshield because it was so loose, pushed up on the windshield, blew air, and kind of forced it underneath. Some of it actually dripped into the interior, so good thing it's empty. But yeah, I figure that's going to give it its best chance to get on the underside of the seal and then put pressure down and seal it back to the body. And then it takes an hour to skin up or whatever, and then 24 hours to cure. So here she sits for 24 hours, and then I'll do it again. I'll do another bead over top of it, and that should fill in any other voids and just kind of hopefully tie it all together good. I mean, it's pretty thin once it runs out and gets runny. But yeah, glad I kind of Googled it because I was just going to use frickin' old Ultra Black, but this is a frickin' much easier way to get it underneath. Way better than I would have with any other thick silicone. So I'm going to say I'm happy with it, but we'll see when we're done. You can kind of see it out there. Not bad. Doing shit. At least we say we are. Already out of whiskey, so I'm on to the water. This is a pretty strong one. Oh, what are we going to do now, lady? 5 to 10 in the PMs. Listen to some Ludacris. Man, my music goes from Johnny Cash to fucking Ludacris and then back. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? All right, so next evening, about, I don't know, 13, 14 hours before I came back down after last night and checked on it after that first application of sealant, and it's holding nice and tight. So then, I don't know, about 16, 17 hours after that first one, I just did another application so that silicone could just settle in over top on the whole edge again, because that last application I kind of blew it all underneath to try and seal the windshield down. But yeah, put another layer in all the way across, and I think we're going to be okay. Seems nice and tight, and we did the best we could do with that stuff anyways without pulling the whole windshield out. And actually, after doing all that wax and grease remover cleaning and everything, the more of the windshield started freeing up. So I actually don't think it would have been too hard to get it completely out unless the bottom's really sealed in, which it sure seemed like it was. So I think we'll be okay there. And then that's pretty good little bit of progress for this video. I think that's probably going to end this video. See where we're at for length after editing. Try and keep them around an hour or less. Moving forward. That's all you guys. That's all a guy could do. Just keep on keeping on. Still not running perfect and still has the oil leak to deal with and a few other bigger jobs. But it'll all come together. Till next time. All right, we're live.
We're live.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? He's playing with this old girl.
That's right. We got the dash install last night.
And we got my stuff.
I did put the steering wheel cover on, and I don't know. Feels like we should start this girl. Hey, it's been probably a month.
Yeah, Dad fixed stuff in here.
Not bad, eh? Looks
Not
pretty
bad.
good. Yeah, I think we should see how she starts up after sitting a while. Back it out, let
Look
it
at
idle for a
this
bit,
chrome.
and then
Pretty shiny.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just be nice to see it fire up. Been a while.
See my car fire up.
They're all
Oh
your
man, what are we thinking about?
they're all your cars, buddy.
All my cars. Soon. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
Okay.
open up the garage and see if she goes. Okay.
We got the cool night on the
Let's
Bel
get
Air.
in. Let's see if she goes.
But this is an old car. It's bigger than the Bel Air.
Oh
See if
yeah.
she starts. Oh yeah. Alright, come in here too.
Yep. You want to go on that side?
With some munchies maybe.
You want to come too, lady?
You want to
Come on.
come too? Come on.
Come on, let's go in the back.
In the back.
Get in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on, let's go. Oh, there she goes. Recline the seat and turn up the beat.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's give her 1, 2 pumps.
Oh. Come on. Come on, baby. Gonna start. There we go.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
I think a little bit of smoke came out.
Cool.
Oh,
We got
stalled. Try her again. Come on, choke.
Come on. That says gas is almost low. It go down.
Went down. I don't know. Seemed like it started so nice.
Started so nice, didn't even go down there. Dude, mufflers.
Sounds good. Oh,
Oh? You always start a new Bel Air wagon. Oh, new. Oh, right. Looking good. Yeah. She's looking good.
stance isn't that bad, actually.
Doolies.
Sounds like it's picking up a bit. I wonder if all our blinkers and all that still work after all this dash playing. Try the hazards. So sweet.
Yep, all of them are working.
Every single one?
Yep, let's try lights.
Headlights.
Yeah, headlights with blinkers on.
Here. There, headlights are on.
Ah, yeah.
Low beams are working. What about all our HVAC in here?
This is going pretty good.
Yeah. Pulling out some rusty juice down here. Watch your knee on the snow.